Fat bunch of good you did me last week. God, I pull you out of the closet for the first time in like 10 years, and I use you in my video to make my picks, and look, my picks went 0-2. Oh, hi guys. Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. And here we are. We are set up for the final game of the NFL season, and it's the biggest one. It's also been the hardest one to pick, and I've been racking my brain clean through the Pro Bowl. I didn't even watch the Pro Bowl, actually. And all through this week, trying to figure out exactly which way I was going to go for this game. There's so many storylines about this game. Honestly, you couldn't have picked a better storyline. You really couldn't have. The two teams that were involved in what most people, I guess, consider... Excuse me, I'm going to adjust my camera. What most people call the greatest upset in Super Bowl history are now meeting again 4 years later. And it's... wow. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better storyline coming into the football game. Most people that I've talked to are on the Giants for the game. I know that the Vegas line has the Patriots favored by 3. Chris Schultz on TSN's Risky Business took the Patriots to win the game. And it took a lot of thought on my part as to exactly who I was going to go with. This is the way I chose to sort of break it down. I took no fewer than, I think, what do we got there? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 different aspects of these two football teams matched up side by side. And, you know, I had to go through and I had to sort of decide that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each one of these aspects before I give you who I believe is going to win the game. We're going to start with the quarterbacks. The quarterback matchup here, of course, New England's Tom Brady and the New York Giants' Eli Manning. And, you know, this 4 years ago, this was a blowout. No one would have put Eli in Tom's class. They just weren't in the same class of quarterback. This year, much closer. However, I am still giving the edge to the Patriots and Tom Brady. When you have Tom Brady lining up under center, there's no other quarterback in football that I would rather have in this game than Tom Brady. So the quarterback matchup goes to the Patriots. So if you want to keep tally, 1-0 Patriots. We look at the running back core. The running back core is very firmly in the side of the Giants. Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs. You put those two together. Bradshaw, the more agile of the two, and Jacobs just a run-you-over, bull rush kind of guy. And you combine the two of them, and the run game of the Patriots just doesn't match up. You had Stephen Ridley, who had some good games. You had Ben Jarvis Green-Ellis, who actually had a good season. So I mean, Ben Jarvis Green-Ellis is a good running back. And you even factor in Aaron Hernandez, who they've been running quite a bit in the playoffs. You know, you even take that, it still doesn't match up with Bradshaw and Jacobs. So 1-1. Look at the wide receiver core. The wide receiver core also in favor of the New York Giants. You have arguably one of the best wide receivers in football playing on the Patriots in Wes Welker, and that's great. But after Wes Welker, you have Deion Branch, who is solid but not spectacular. Chad Ochocinco, who hasn't done a goddamn thing all year. Julian Edelman, who spent more time fighting off legal battles and playing on defense than actually catching footballs. So you got one great wide receiver, but you look at the Giants, and the Giants have 3 of the top wide receivers in football today in Victor Cruz, Mario Manningham, and Hakeem Nicks. And the fact that, Eli Manning spreads the ball out to these three guys, given how bad the Patriots secondary has looked at times this year, certainly have to give the edge to the Giants. 2-1 Giants. Look at tight ends, absolute blowout, New England Patriots. Even if Rob Gronkowski is limited in this game, you still have Aaron Hernandez, and you still have a, whatever it is, 60%, 65, 70%, whatever, Rob Gronkowski, who, and I mean, those two combined, I mean, who do the Giants even have playing at tight end? I think it's Jake Ballard. Sorry, that just doesn't match up. We are tied at 2. Offensive line. This one is actually very close because I'm a big fan of the Giants' offensive line. I think they played really well this year. The edge in offensive line are given the slight edge to the Patriots, and they are going to need it. Big time. So, 3-2 Patriots. Defensive line, blowout. New York Giants. I've talked about them all playoffs. Jason Pierre-Paul, Osi Umenyiora, Justin Tuck, Matthias Kiwanuka coming up from the linebacker. This NASCAR package that they run with 4 defensive ends, it's an absolute blowout. No disrespect to guys on the defensive line of the Patriots like Vince Wilfork. I'm a huge Vince Wilfork fan, but this is definitely Giants. 3-3. Linebacker core, I'm going to give the edge in this one to the Giants as well. Especially in the playoffs, their linebacker core has come up with some big plays. Like I said, Kiwanuka, who also plays linebacker. And I believe his name was Boley. See, I had never heard this guy's name before that massive performance that he put up earlier in these playoffs. So, 4-3 advantage for the Giants. Defensive backs, got to go with the Giants again. Antrell Roll, who really cornerstones that secondary, and we know how bad the Patriots secondary played for a good portion of this season. So, absolutely, the Giants have the edge in terms of the defensive backs in the secondary. 5-3. Now, so we got 5-3 in terms of the personnel. Now, I wanted to look at things like pass offense, pass defense, rush defense, special teams, things like that. And this is where it starts to even out a little bit more. Passing offense, I have to give the edge to the Patriots, even though the Giants have those 3 excellent wide receivers and a very good quarterback in Eli Manning. The way that the Patriots run that pass offense with those screen passes, short slants, 2 and 3 tight end packages, give Wes Welker easily 10 catches on the game, and Rob Gronkowski being the best tight end in football, I have to give the slight edge, and it's very close, I have to give the slight edge to the Patriots in terms of pass offense. 5-4 for the Giants. Rush offense, this was another one that was very, very close, but I've still got to give this to the Giants. You talk about in terms of Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs combining. Eli can rush the ball. He's not a great runner, but he can rush the ball. And even despite, Tom Brady being able to rush the ball a little bit and them running Aaron Hernandez and everything, in terms of on the ground, have to give the advantage to the Giants. 6-4 Giants. Pass defense, have to give it to the Giants. Again, we know how bad the Patriots secondary and pass defense has played at times this season. I believe they were very high up in the league in terms of pass yards allowed this season. That goes to the Giants. 7-4 Giants. It's starting to get a little runaway, eh? Run defense, this was actually really tough. I'm giving a super razor thin slight edge to the Patriots, and here's why. If you look at the playoff performances thus far, the Giants are giving up 5 yards a carry, where the Patriots are giving up more than a yard, I believe more than a yard and a third less than that. So, all things being relative, or all things being equal, I suppose, if both teams run the ball 40 times, the Patriots, in terms of averages, are going to get 200 yards on the ground. So, I had to give the slight edge there to the Patriots simply based on bulk numbers, really, and the fact that those numbers include a game against the top rushing offense in the league this past year in Denver. So I had to give the very, 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 very fucking razor-thin slight edge to the Patriots in terms of run defense. Special teams, had to give this one to, that's 7-5. Special teams, had to give this one to the Patriots as well. You talk about Stephen Gostkowski and Zoltan Mesko in terms of their kicking and their punting. The Giants match up very well with Lawrence, especially with Lawrence Tynes kicking. He's a great kicker. But just in terms of overall special teams, I had to give the advantage there to the Patriots. 7-6, right? Yeah, 7-6. Experience, Patriots all the way. Tom Brady, this is going to be Tom Brady's 5th Super Bowl with Bill Belichick. And I know they only have, I think it was, 7 players, I think, left over from the last time these two played. But your main component there, quarterback and coach, are still there. Have to give playoff, in terms of playoff experience, have to give that to the Patriots. Tie ball game. Coaching, have to give it to the Patriots. Who else would you want on the sideline besides Bill Belichick? The guy can do more with a roll of tape, with a reel of tape, game film, than anybody else in the league. So if anybody is going to be able to take the mistakes that they made both in the previous Super Bowl and their loss to the Giants earlier this season, it's going to be Bill Belichick. Nothing against Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin is a phenomenal coach. Great coach. And if I was on a football team, I would absolutely love to have Tom Coughlin as my coach. But I have to give the edge in the game, in terms of coaching, to the Patriots. And then something I just sort of bulked together, intangibles. And intangibles, I'm talking about the team that's got momentum, the team that's getting the most buzz, the team that's got the bigger chip on their shoulder, the team that's got more to prove, all kinds of stuff. And in the intangibles, I had to give the edge to the Giants. Because, you know, they're getting the most buzz. Everybody's like, oh, this is the time that, you know, the Giants are almost going in as the favorite in a lot of people's minds. But they're still the team that's got the most to prove. Eli's got the most to prove. If Eli can win this 2nd Super Bowl, the discussion between which one's the better Manning brother, the gap closes significantly based on what he did this season and winning a 2nd Super Bowl. So the Giants have that chip on their. They got a lot of swagger, but they've still got that chip on their shoulder. That, like, you know, New England was 13-3 on the season. The Giants barely snuck in at 9-7. I mean, you know, it's tough because they're playing an underdog role, but they're not, because most people are like, oh no, man, Giants are gonna win. So it's so hard, but I had to give the edge in terms of intangibles to the Giants. And if you were keeping count, that is 8-8. So that doesn't help at all. So I'm going to crumple up the analysis and throw it away. I've got to go with my gut. And I'm putting a lot on the line here too. I've only got a 5-5 prediction record this NFL playoff, so I'm either going to go home above 500 or below 500, and it's going to be tough for me if I don't hit that 500 barrier. But at the same time, I got to stay true to my most prodigious gut and predict that the winner of the 2012 Super Bowl will be the New England Patriots. I think, I don't know. I think Brady and Belichick have one more left in them, for sure. And, I think this is going to be, I think this is the year, and I think they're going to avenge that loss in both in the regular season and in the Super Bowl 4 years ago. So I got to stick with it. I got to go with my gut, and my gut is telling me that it's going to be the Patriot way all day. So there you go. I'm picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl on Sunday. As far as the point spread, I have no idea. I suck at doing point spreads. Why don't I just say this? I think they'll cover the 3 points. And that's based on absolutely nothing. That's just me throwing it out there. So I think they'll cover the 3 points. Whatever. This is the last you'll hear from me for a couple of days. I'm off to my Super Bowl party tomorrow. I am hugely excited for it. And I will be coming back to you at the beginning of next week. I have a couple of videos lined up that I want to do. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch the video and listening to me ramble once again. I'm picking the Patriots. Here's hoping I go 6-5. If you want to flame me, feel free to flame me in the comments. Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube. Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. This is Justin. Chad, you got your wish. I'm going against the Giants again. It's burned me all playoffs, but there you go. Enjoy the Super Bowl, everybody. Madonna and LMFAO and Nicki Minaj.